A little bit about parallel and perpendicular lines before, but I just want to be very clear about the difference between the two. So the first thing I want us to look at is parallel lines. If you look at this picture here, there are one pair of parallel lines in this picture. Parallel lines are lines that continue on in one or two directions and never intersect one another. So in this case, we have two parallel lines. We have line AC is parallel to line EG. These two lines are parallel because they never cross each other's path. Remember, parallel, if you look at the L's in parallel, they never cross one another's path. Now, if we look at the next set of lines, perpendicular lines are different because they actually intersect at a 90-degree angle. So these two lines, line AB and line D, they actually intersect at a 90-degree angle, which means they form that right angle when they cross each other's path. The only way that a perpendicular line is perpendicular is, in fact, if it crosses at a 90-degree angle. If it just intersects, we would call that intersecting lines. But in this case, they are perpendicular because they form those 90-degree angles. Tomorrow, what we'll actually be doing in class is you will actually be going through and you will be using B-Bot robots. And these B-Bot robots that you will use, you will actually put two on a path, and you will have those two robots work to form parallel and perpendicular lines. This button here is the forward button. If you want your B-Bot to move forward, you would actually push that button a certain number of spaces in order to move it that number. So if I wanted to move my B-Bot forward 3 spaces, I would push it 3 times. On the other side of the mat, your partner may be wanting to do the exact same movements as you to form those parallel lines. So they too would push the button 3 times and set the B-Bot on a separate path so that the lines are, in fact, parallel when the B-Bot moves. When you're ready to have your B-Bot move, that's when you would hit this go button here, and that will allow your B-Bot to actually start to move. This button here is the right button, and over here we have the left button. If you want your B-Bot to turn at a 90-degree angle, then you would push the right button or the left button. And remember that 90-degree angle is what we're working towards when we're trying to form perpendicular lines. So tomorrow in class, what you'll actually be doing is using the B-Bots on a mat to get your robots to form parallel and perpendicular lines. And you'll be working in partners to actually accomplish this task. Should you have any questions, we'll briefly discuss this in the morning, but please just reiterate I cannot reiterate the importance of knowing the difference between parallel and perpendicular. Again, parallel lines never cross each other's path. They are always going to follow their own path and never cross another line. They continue on without ever intersecting. It's very important that you know that. Perpendicular lines, on the other hand, they intersect and they form those right angles. And right angles, as you recall, have 90 degrees. Do not forget that little piece of information. As a final task for tomorrow, I am going to show you a series of lines, and what I would like you to do is tell me what lines are parallel and what lines in this image are perpendicular. So in this picture you see a series of lines. You see line JK, and you see line LM, you see line GH, you see line CD, you see line EF, and you see line AB. All of these lines have some unique attributes to them. They are either parallel to another line in the image, or they are perpendicular to another line in the image. What you need to do is on a sheet of paper, record all the pairs of parallel lines and all the pairs of perpendicular lines. I want you to work on that before tomorrow. Keep in mind you can re-watch the video as many times as you need to. because tomorrow in class we're going to be working with those b-bots and practicing a little bit more with the difference between parallel and perpendicular lines. So again, keep in mind, parallel never intersect one another. Perpendicular intersect to form 90-degree angles. This will help us in our study of calculating angle measurements in the future, so please write down your list of parallel perpendicular lines. If you have any questions, write those down as well. Bring them to class in the morning, and we will continue to discuss this very important issue in geometry. Look forward to seeing everyone tomorrow. Have a great night, and I will see you bright and early in the morning.